two questions. What would Joe Biden do about the coronavirus? And why aren't the media concerned about the woman who made a very serious allegation, not of sexual harassment, but of sexual assault against the former vice president? First, what would Joe Biden do about the coronavirus?
We need to activate the reserve corps of doctors and nurses and beef up the number of responders dealing with these crush of cases. And in addition to that, we have to make sure that we are in a position that we are. Well, let me go to the second thing.
Not quite sure I follow that.
I was literally on the phone at least 3 to 4 hours a day with my team talking about the detailed implementation. How do we get the money? Where do we do? Who do we go to? Who do we ask for, etc.
Where we do? Where we do? Let's try that again, Mr. Biden. What would you do?
Look, none of us want to be cooped up in our homes just as the weather is turning nice, just as spring break travel plans are approaching, just as the campaign for the presidency is kicking into high gear. It's unfair to all of us, and it's unnecessary for all of us, but it's necessary in fact. It's necessary for all of us to have to deal with it. And it's unnecessary for all of us, but it's necessary in fact. It's necessary for all of us to have to deal with it. And what we have done is the reason why most of the world was repaired to us, particularly after World War II, is because of who we are as a nation. We, the people, we hold these truths, etc. Sounds corny, but it's real. And that's why, that's why the vast majority of the nations have followed us. We, the people, we hold these truths, etc. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. You know the thing.
One more time. So what would Joe do?
Would reassess the recommended period for keeping businesses shut and people at home. Are you at all concerned, as Trump said, that we cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself?
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what. No matter what.
Now, who can argue with that?
Now, for what it's worth, a Johns Hopkins study said that America is better prepared to deal with a pandemic than any other country on the face of the earth. Oh, yeah. No country is fully prepared for epidemics or pandemics, and every country has important gaps to address. The United States scored 83.5 and ranked number 1 in 5, actually 4, of the 6 categories: prevention, early detection, reporting, rapid response and mitigation, sufficient and robust health systems, and compliance with international norms. End of quote. Mr. Biden, of course, says that our president, when it comes to dealing with the coronavirus pandemic, has been nothing short of incompetent.
How's President Trump doing? They go, oh, not good, not good.
This is no time for Donald Trump's record of hysterical xenophobia, and fear-mongering.
Oh, and about President Trump's decision to restrict travel to China. Joe Biden called it hysterical xenophobia. Here's what NIH's Dr. Fauci said.
Yeah, there's no question that if we had not done that in a timely way, there would have been many more travel-related cases from China. And as you know, the outbreak that we're having here in the country, this cases, originated from travel-related cases that came from China. And then we had the issue in Washington State and what we're seeing now in other states. So coming from outside within was the thing that started it. So I think doing that saved us a lot of concern and a lot of suffering, I think.
So what is Joe's advice?
Why doesn't he just act like a president? That's a stupid way to say it.
You know, Donald Trump was asked
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No. Probably best I don't. Thirdly, the cost of a test should be absolutely zero for you, number one. And number two,
he didn't say.
Thirdly, the cost of a test should be absolutely zero for you, number one. And number two.
Oh, yes, he did. Hey, even CNN is wondering whether or not Joe has lost his fastball.
Joe Biden is an old-fashioned handshaking politician. It was clear that they are not ready for the communications required for this. I was on that conference call with him on Friday afternoon, and it was an old-fashioned conference call that barely made any news coverage.
Now, number two, let's deal with the second issue. Joe Biden has had an allegation leveled against him, not of sexual harassment, but of sexual assault. Before we get into what the alleged victim says he did, let's talk about how Joe Biden said we ought to react to such allegations. What should happen is a woman should be given the benefit of the doubt and not be, abused by the system. I hope that they understand what courage it takes for someone to come forward and relive what they believe happened to them and let them state it, but treat her with respect. End of quote. Well, that certainly is a standard when it applies to people like Donald Trump, isn't it? In this case, a Biden former staffer named Tara Reid claims that in 1993, she was given an assignment. Reid is speaking to a journalist named Katie Halper. Listen to this.
She called me in and said, I want you to take this to Joe. He wants it. He wants you to bring it. Hurry. And I said, okay. And it was a gym bag. She said, take the gym bag. She called it athletic bag. And, she said he was down towards the Capitol and he'll meet you. And so I went down and I was heading down towards there. And he was at first talking to someone. I could see him at a different distance, and then they went away. And then we were in like the side. It was like the side area. And he just said, hey, come here, Tara. And then I handed him the thing and he greeted me. He remembered my name. And then we were alone, and it was the strangest thing. There was no exchange really. He just had me up against the wall. And I was wearing a skirt and, business skirt, but I wasn't wearing stockings. It was kind of a hot day that day, and I was wearing heels. And I remember my legs had been hurting from the marble, of the Capitol, walking. And so I remember that kind of stuff. I remember I was wearing a blouse, and he just had me up against the wall, and the wall was cold. And I remember it happened all at once. The gym bag, I don't know where it went. I handed it to him, it was gone. And then his hands were on me and underneath my clothes. And and then he went down my skirt, but then up inside it. And he penetrated me with his fingers, whatever. And he was kissing me at the same time, and he was saying something to me. He said several things, and I can't remember everything he said. I remember a couple of things. I remember him saying first, before, as he was doing it, do you want to go somewhere else? And then him saying to me, when I pulled away, he got finished doing what he was doing, and I kind of was pulled back, and he said, come on, man, I heard you liked me. And that phrase stayed with me because I kept thinking what I might have said. And I can't remember exactly if he said I thought or if I heard, but it's like he implied that I had done this. I don't know. And for me, it was like everything shattered in that moment, because I knew we were alone. It was over, right? He wasn't trying to do anything more, but I looked up to him. He was like my father's age. He was this champion of women's rights in my eyes. And I couldn't believe it was happening. It seemed surreal. And I just felt sick, because when he pulled back, he looked annoyed, and he said something else to me that I don't want to say. And then he said, I must have looked shocked, and he grabbed me by the shoulders. I don't know how I looked, but I must have looked something, because he grabbed me by the shoulders and he said, you're okay, you're fine, you're okay, you're fine. And then he walked away and he went on with his day. And what I remember next is being in the Russell building, where the big windows are, and the stairs by myself. And my body, I was shaking everywhere and it was cold all of a sudden. And I don't know, I felt like I was shaking just everywhere. And I was trying to grasp what had just happened and what I should do or what I should say. But I knew it was bad because he was so angry. Like when he left, like I could feel, you know how when you know someone's angry, they don't necessarily have to say anything. Like he smiles when he's angry and you can just feel it emanating from him. Like,
do you want to share that thing that you said you don't, like you said, like, I don't want to say what he said, that thing he said to you?
Yeah, I guess I could.
I mean, you don't have to.
It's okay. It's just, it's almost like giving a weapon to them.
How so?
Well, it's like, I don't want them to know how much it hurt. I don't, you know, I don't want him to know when I don't know. But
that
yeah,
like that you remembered it?
Yeah, just I don't know. But yeah, I can say it. Yeah, there was something he said that I didn't want to say, and I didn't want to say it because it's the thing that stays in my head over and over, and it's a thing that kind of stayed with me over the years. But he said, when he had me against the wall after I pulled away, and he had said, "Hey, you know, come on, I heard you liked me," and I knew he was angry right after he took his finger. He just like pointed at me and he said, "You're nothing to me." And then he just looked at me and he goes, "You're nothing, nothing." And then I must have reacted. And I think he only said it twice. I said, but I just heard the word nothing. And I must have reacted because that's when he took me by the shoulders and he said, you know, "You're okay, you're fine, you're okay." But then afterwards, like, it kept replaying in my head. And like last April, when all that stuff came out, I got really, really sad about it. And the thing that I remember most, almost more than the assault itself, was just being told I was nothing. And he was right. That's how people treated me. That's how office treated me. And I have no platform. I am no one. And to him, I'm nothing. So yeah. So if people want to know why women don't come forward, that's a good example of why.
Now, this allegation against Joe Biden broke in a publication called The Intercept on Tuesday, March 24th. Since then, as of Friday morning, the story had been covered by The Intercept. Halper, a vocal Sanders supporter, and Refinery 29, but not by the New York Times or the Washington Post. End of quote. Not by the gray lady, the New York Times, not by the Washington Post of Woodward and Bernstein. In other words, now what again is the standard when it applies to Trump?
I want to send a message to every survivor of sexual assault. Don't let anyone silence your voice. You have a right to be heard, and you have a right to be believed. We're with you.
Of course, she who is without sin casts the first stone.
Hillary threatened me 3 weeks after her husband raped me. She visually, personally came up to me and threatened me. Do you think that's very nice?
So, follow the bouncing double standards.
And I hesitate to use this expression, but I'm going to. And that is, he was like an octopus. It was like he had 6 arms. He was all over the place.
He pushed me up against the wall and had his hands all over me and tried to get up my dress again. And I had to physically say, "What are you doing? Stop it." It was a shocking thing to have him do this.
The person on my right, who unbeknownst to me at that time was Donald Trump, put their hand up my skirt. He did touch my vagina through my underwear.
He then walked up to me and reached his right arm and grabbed my right arm. Then his hand touched the right inside of my breast.
But as of the taping of this video, despite the graphic description of what allegedly happened by Ms. Reed, as far as CNN and MSNBC are concerned, well, this has been Larry Elder, and we've got a country to save. I'll see you next time.